Needless to say, we are very excited to have you here. Graduated high school at 15, entered Harvard Law at 16, editor of the Harvard Crimson in your freshman year, captain of the National Greco-Roman men's gold medal wrestling team, same year. In your sophomore year, you jumped from coxswain to bow on the men's heavyweight rowing team, leading your shell to the Tri-State Championship. In your junior year, you were the youngest bowler in cricket history to take all 10 wickets in an inning. I don't even know what that means, but I'm impressed, if not outright intrigued. And finally, president of the Harvard Law Review in your senior year, raising the paper's impact factor from 4.707 to 5.0. You passed the bar before you were legally allowed to drink. Schlitz. 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 Excuse me? Schlitz. That's such a fun sound. Schlitz. Wagner, Wirtz, and Schlitz. German?
Yes. The founding partners were, in fact, each of German descent. In fact, Wagner and Wirtz were first cousins on both their mother's side.
But not Schlitz.
Thomas Schlitz is not related.
Being German, shouldn't it be Wagner, Wirtz, und Schlitz?
We prefer the Americanized pronunciation.
Smart. Wagner, Wirtz, and Schlitz does have a slightly Nazi-ish ring to it.
Mr. Brillstein.
My friends call me Vinny.
Vinny?
You can call me Vincent. Half Italian, half Jewish. I know, strange bedfellows, am I right? Funny story, I didn't even know my proper name was Vincent until the age of 10. Everyone always called me Vinny, so naturally I thought that's my name. Then one day I meet my grandfather from the old country, who happens to be my namesake. Again, no one ever told me this. Long story short, there he is with a goofy smile, eyes brimming with tears, arms wide open, yelling, "Vincent! Vincent!" I thought he might be having a stroke. I look over at my mom and say, "Who the hell is Vincent?" She smacks me upside the head. "You!" she says. "You're Vincent, idiot. Now go give your grandfather a kiss." Talk about childhood trauma.
What a lovely story. Vinny. Vincent. Mr. Brillstein. But before we move forward with this interview, do you have any questions for us?
Just one. What does he do?
My name is Travis Little. I'm head of HR, Mr. Brillstein.
Wait, you deal with all the whack jobs? Just a matter of time before someone goes Columbine on you. And they say Alaskan crab fishermen have the most dangerous job.
I must say, on paper, you are something else. Now, I'm sure we are not the only law firm in Los Angeles that is very interested in your talents. But we are the biggest firm in the state of California, and becoming an employee of Wagner, Wirtz, and Schlitz, we can provide you with an opportunity with great benefits, not to mention a starting salary that is way over what any of our competitors are willing to offer.
Where do I sign?
We'll get to that soon enough. But first, we have a question for you.
Shoot.
In the 1969 Supreme Court precedent, Watt v. United States, the court found that hate speech, in this case, threatening the life of the President of the United States of America, was not protected under the First Amendment, therefore making it a crime under hate crime laws.
That's a pity.
As recently as last Tuesday, the Supreme Court reversed a conviction of a man who made extensive online threats to a stranger in a 7-2 decision. What would be your argument either for or against this decision?
My argument would be on the side of the latter court decision, obviously.
Why would that be an obvious position?
Let me start by arguing the other side first. Yes, we do have hate crime laws under which the First Amendment does not protect a defendant, as is the case with Watts versus the United States. The argument can be reinforced by how we define freedom of expression and whether or not a physical act falls under that category or is separate from it. Are words different than actions under the First Amendment? According to the Watts decision, the answer would be a flat no, because Watts never actually did attempt to assassinate the president, he just said that he would like to. Yet his words carried the weight of the act of something he never actually did. In other words, violent acts are synonymous with violent speech. Under this precedent, last week's case should have been tossed in the toilet.
Okay.
But, and here's the rub, words and actions are different, even if they fall under the same category of freedom of expression. To say you were going to do something and to actually do the thing you say you were going to do are two completely different things. And a psychologist worth her salt will tell you that it is perfectly normal to feel anger to the point of wanting to hurt someone, but actually acting on that anger is crossing the proverbial Rubicon. In other words, being so angry that you want to strangle someone is perfectly normal. Just ask anyone who has to commute on the 405 every morning. But actually getting out of your car, walking across 4 lanes of highway traffic, ripping the door off that douchey Maserati, and throttling the driver until his body goes limp? Well, that's a whole other ball of wax. Both forms of personal expression, but two completely different outcomes. One victimless, the other, you got blood on your hands. Therefore, one is compelled to ask what are the limits of freedom of speech under the First Amendment, if any, and where do those limits intersect between word and deed? I will emphasize that true threats of violence are not protected by the First Amendment, but to guard against a chilling effect on non-threatening speech, states must prove that a criminal defendant has acted recklessly, meaning that he disregarded a substantial risk that his communications would be viewed as threatening violence. Furthermore, the concern raised is the risk of cracking down on speech that is unintentionally threatening and could lead to, for example, high school students going to prison for sending each other violent music lyrics. I don't know about you, but I'm not going to let anyone take away my Kendrick Lamar.
Well done, sir. Well done. On behalf of my partners and the board of directors, it is with great pleasure to offer you a position with Wagner, Words, and
I don't miss you. I'm a baddie with a bad attitude. Got my go crew. It's essential to become exceptional, and